Hi, my name is Diana Camila Delgado Yanez, and I'm going to talk about the Cold War that lasted from 1947 to 1991. Well, you may be wondering, what was the Cold War? Well, it was an ongoing political rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union and the respective allies that developed after World War II. And here are some important dates that you should remember. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can see some of the important ones like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and after all these events, by 1991, the Soviet Union collapses. That is when the World War ended, or so-called the Cold War. Okay, so the two superpowers of the world at the moment were the US and the Soviet Union. And the US had the economic system of capitalism and the Soviet Union had the socialism. So first we're going to go with the capitalism. So how does it work? Well, it is an economic system where the free exchange of goods and services is controlled by individuals and groups, not the state. And it was proposed by Marx and Engels. Then we continue with the socialism. How does this one work? Well, it's a system of organization or government where all property, industry, and capital is owned by the community, not individuals. So it's practically the opposite of the capitalism. And it was proposed by the Bolsheviks. As for the interview, I decided to interview my grandmother about the Cold War. She's 77 years old, and her name is Francisca Preto. Okay, so the first question is, what countries were the world leaders during this period? Her question was that they were the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and the United States, without an order. Then the next question is, why did countries who were allies during the wars become enemies afterwards? Well, the US, the Great Britain, and France separated from the Soviet Union because the years preceding World War II were critical for reorganizing the geopolitical setting. So rivalries and differences began to appear as the Allies determined post-war changes in Europe. So that's what led the dissolution of these former allies. And the next question is, where did the Cold War take place? Well, the answer was, it took place in Europe, Soviet Union, the US, Vietnam, Cuba, Korea, etc. The next question is, what opinion did the general public have of the Cold War? Well, most citizens were happy and unbothered. However, some feared something bad could happen to them during the Soviet invasion or nuclear war. And to the last question, that is, what type of weapons did the two world powers have at their disposal? Well, they had nuclear and atomic bombs. As for my opinion about the Cold War, is that all these events that we've seen, like the World War I and II and this Cold War, they have led to where we are today. So I think that we can learn from our past mistakes and not let the rivalry or differences between countries take the best of us, and be smart and think everything through and not make the same mistakes as we did in the past, so we can learn from them and move forward.